As a teenager playing The Sims 2, I was fascinated by Bella Goth, her mysterious disappearance from Pleasantview, her strange connection to her daughter's fiancé, Don Lothario, and his telescope. Was she abducted by aliens? And considering the Calienta sisters were descended from an alien, Pollination Technician 7, and arrived at the same time, were they involved somehow? And is the Bella Goth wandering Strange Town actually the real Bella Goth, or a clone? And what about that hot air balloon? Honestly, the lack of equivalent storytelling and lore in The Sims 4 is pretty tragic. But back on point. Perhaps the most interesting thing about Bella was her disappearance itself. The actual Bella Goth of Pleasantview wasn't really gone. For whatever reason, Maxis didn't properly delete her. Though as we all know, trying to delete Sims from the Sim bin causes corruption because they aren't properly deleted. And most of the unplayable Maxis Sims can be recovered using various methods. Few of Maxis' attempts to get rid of Sims that were once playable have really worked. Just see the chaos of Olive Spector's garden for reference. Well, that's not quite the chaos I meant. I only found out what happens when a sim uses this career reward with a low aspiration a few days ago, and I had to fit that into this video somewhere. So before playing The Sims 2, I played The Sims 1 and Bustin' Out on console, and very briefly on PC with the Making Magic expansion before it stopped working after a day. So I knew the Goths from before. The Goths were iconic. They appear in most Sims games and are basically the Sim Universe version of the Addams family. But suddenly, in The Sims 2, Bella had disappeared. So when I found out you could add Bella to the household using Bullprop, I had to bring her back. I played the Goth household with Bella for a few hours. I don't remember all the details now, but she and Mortimer had another kid, I think. But then, sadly, it was time for Bella to leave again. As you probably know if you've ever tried this, if you exit and re-enter the lot, Bella disappears like a ghost. But why is that? There's no sign of her grave on any lot in The Sims 2 after all. The developers obviously wanted Bella's disappearance to be ambiguous, which means no graves, but they also couldn't have Bella wandering the streets as a townie or NPC in Pleasantview, while it's implied that she's now in Strange Town. So, they needed to hide her from view. One solution to that issue was to give her an I am dead token, so the game treats her as though she is dead, but doesn't leave a gravestone. The I am dead token is one of many invisible tokens that Sims can receive that affect in-game behaviour, stats and probability. Tokens are technically memories that are invisible, so you can't see them in-game. However, if you open SimPE, you can find these tokens located in the Neighbourhood and Sim Memory Editor. You can use Bullprop to give the dead token to other Sims too, and the same thing will happen. They will remain playable until you exit and re-enter the lot, and then they will turn into a ghost, disappear, and leave behind no gravestone or trace of themselves. All dead Sims have this token so the game knows that they are dead, and it is removed if you use the Resurrect Anomatron career reward. And if they are married, they stay married even after death, unlike in normal gameplay where this link is removed. This might be how they set up a lot of the Maxis family trees where dead Sims still show up as married. Bella is a particularly interesting case as her character data seems partly deleted, and she is not resurrectable like other Sims killed in this way. Perhaps to stop this process from completing so that she appears alive still in her family tree, but she's still placed in the default Sim bin and not the townie one, which is where deleted and deceased Sims end up. Because of this, it's hard to know if the developers intended to give her this token, or if they found another way to partly remove Bella and forgot to remove it later. The token does seem a bit buggy, and sometimes won't work the first time you try it. There are also several Veronaville Sims who behave oddly with this token, where even if you resurrect them, they will immediately disappear and cause a glitch where nobody can move out of the house, essentially trapping them forever. They're still
here, so that glitched. Are they gonna come back?
Caliban Cap also has a physical death token in his inventory, and if you want to resurrect him, you have to remove it. As weird as Pleasant View Bella is, the Strangetown version isn't entirely safe if you're not using a fixed neighbourhood template, especially after apartment life due to the networking feature. If you look in Sim PE, you can see she has a relationship with the Grim Reaper, Therapist and Hula Zombie, and can introduce playable Sims to them, which could potentially cause game corruption fixed only by reinstalling the game. I might make a video discussing Strangetown Bella more later though, as there are several weird things about her. But the I am dead token is not the only token in The Sims 2. There are tokens for all kinds of things like disease immunity, weekly motive benefits, not quite sure what that one does, whether a Sim has travelled to various vacation destinations before if Bon Voyage is installed, whether Sims have eaten certain foods, and many more. One notable token is the pregnancy modifier token, which increases a Sim's chance of having twins. Many townies and pre-made Sims have this token, including Pleasant View Sims Joe Carr and Kaylin Langerak. Many Max's Sims also have hidden aspiration tokens, which differ from their in-game aspiration. There are several toddler and child Sims with these tokens too, like Boo Broke, who has a hidden knowledge aspiration, Lucy Burb, who has one for family, and Alexander Goff, who has one for wealth. You could use these hidden tokens as a way to decide what aspirations to roll for younger pre-made Sims as they age, though personally I've always made Alex a knowledge Sim. But that brings me to my current experiment for this video, and the related hidden token, the pregnancy controller token, which tells the game that a Sim is pregnant. You see, The Sims 2 is the only game in the Sims series where pregnant Sims can die, but interestingly, thanks to this token, if you resurrect them, their pregnancy will continue as normal. So when reading about this, what I really wanted to know was whether you can resurrect a Sim as a zombie, and whether they will stay pregnant and give birth. In normal gameplay, zombies can't get pregnant, but I've heard that if they're pregnant before they die and then resurrected, they will be able to continue the pregnancy just like other Sims. So, let's begin the experiment. So I mentioned before, if you resurrect Sims, their pregnancy will go on as normal. As far as I know, the only exception to this is a pre-made Veronaville Sim, Olivia Monty. Even though she's resurrectable, she lacks the pregnancy controller token, but still has the pregnant morph, so it will appear as though she's pregnant forever. Olivia's story is kind of interesting because she has a bio, unlike a lot of deceased Maxis Sims, and her biography does sort of suggest that she died in childbirth. While Olivia loves her children and always wanted a big family, will her next birth push her over the edge? It's difficult to know if Maxis always intended for Sims to eventually be resurrectable so that people could read her bio. I know that cars were planned in the beta, and a developer on Twitter who worked on the game recently posted a bunch of tweets. I'm not going to go into all of that now, there's probably multiple videos worth of information there, but he did say that pets were planned from the beginning. So there were a bunch of things released later that were actually planned or partly developed before the release of the base game. The state of many of the dead Sims though, again, see Olive's Garden and the Sims there, just one example of many, suggests that resurrecting Sims was not a planned feature. It seems more likely that they intended for her to be playable and for that plot point to never come to fruition, but then changed their mind at the last minute and just killed her off, leaving the biography as an unfortunate coincidence. Alternatively, it's possible the storyline was planned. Perhaps it would have been a scripted event like many of the pre-made households have when you first load up the game, but then they decided it was too heavy to include and never intended for anyone to read Olivia's bio. There's lots of possibilities with this, but it's pretty interesting that that hint is there, whether it's a coincidence or not. So we're starting this experiment from here. I had a sim couple and I moved them into this ruined building. I actually downloaded this lot from Mod The Sims and it's pretty cool. I kind of had this idea that they'd moved into the building with the intention to fix it up. but hadn't yet. I actually, in order to move them in, because the lot's a bit more expensive than a starter home, I gave them what I thought was 100,000 simoleons, but it ended up being 1,000,000. It's not 1,000,000 now, because they had to spend a little to get the house. But it actually made me realise that I've never had, I don't think I've ever had a sim with 1,000,000 simoleons before in any sim game. I mean, technically I have, if you include like the prices of lots, but I mean like 1,000,000 simoleons spare, I've never had that before. So I made this couple. I used a random name generator on them because I'm terrible at coming up with names. This is Hildred. I didn't spend too much time creating these sims, but this one kind of has like, he went into aspiration failure sadly after his wife died, which is a shame. But yeah, Hildred kind of has a bit of a like, I don't know, emo kid meets college professor on his day off aesthetic going on. It really made me, I really need to download more custom content. Yeah, so we're just gonna have him. Oh, poor Hildred. But Hildred is going to get his wife back potentially, because that's the point of this video. Welcome wagons here. I don't know whether to invite them in or not. It's just, I may as well greet them, I don't know. It's not really relevant to the video, but you know. Oh, Tia's talking about grandchildren. I don't... You're a bit young to have grandchildren, really, to be honest. I don't know. I can't remember. Does Tia have kids, technically? Actually, yes. I think Tia might have kids. I can't remember the family tree in that household, but I think Tia technically has kids, right? And they're like the same age now because I've aged them up. So technically, she could be a grandparent, but it doesn't really match real world ages, I don't think, because I like aged them up quickly to see what her kids would look like. Quentin and Tia are not getting along. I think a lot of these sims aren't very nice, actually, so that's another thing. Wow, that escalated quickly. I was not... Oh, that's terrible. Like, just abusing the local corrupted sims, Quentin. Does Tia not have a hard enough life? I mean, she has a mouth on her head. Wow. How are they enemies so quickly? Does fighting, like, really... I feel like that... I think they've interacted somewhere else before, because that really just... Oh my god. Oh, they're leaving. They're not going to stick around for the resurrection. There's a fish over there, just, like, swam down the bank. Kind of adds to the cursed vibe of this whole thing. I think they're resurrected where their gravestone is. I'm not sure, but I think maybe they are. So if we move the gravestone up here, Angel's just gonna stand around for hours trying to fish, I guess. So I'm gonna call the Grim Reaper now, and now we're gonna try and resurrect her as a zombie to see if the pregnancy goes the whole way through. So we need to do enough that she'll be resurrected, but not too much that she doesn't come back as a zombie. Oh, she had like normal skin texture for a minute there, and then before it went zombied. Okay, so from the looks of it, she's still in the maternity outfit, and yeah, that really suits. The maternity outfit was perfect because most of them are in pastel colours, but it's like the game knew that this was going to happen. Just put her in that one. Okay, so she's in her 3rd trimester. I'm not sure if it works during every trimester or not, but I tried it with the 3rd one. And, oh. Okay, that's a little odd because I thought the 3rd one was the last trimester anyway. But I guess it isn't, or maybe... I'm not sure what happened there. Resurrect. Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, this hasn't gone well. Did he get that one after? I mean, she's technically already back, but just not in the ideal form.
Liliana's tombstone kicked. My tombstone doesn't exist. I feel like this needs to refresh. It's a bit delayed. Made a zombie. I like how knowledge sims actually like making zombies. But at least it didn't turn out to be an evil zombie. Or did it? They're all a bit mean though, aren't they? They have the same bad personality traits. Something that was interesting to me that I realised while experimenting with Olivia Monty is that these interactions seem tied to the actual mesh in some way, because even though Olivia Monty wasn't technically pregnant anymore, she still had the option for other Sims to rub her belly or talk to her belly, because it's tied to the pregnant morph, I guess, and that made me think of the corrupt pet Sims and how they have like slightly different, like other Sims interact with them differently to how they interact with other Sims. I think like the pet Sims that look like humans, other Sims will think they're human, and I've realised that's because the body type that the Sim has is like how other Sims interact with them. Sims that aren't even pregnant, if they have the pregnant morph, other Sims will interact with them that way, which is interesting. This has been quite the day for Hildred. He moved in, his wife died, he met Tia, who is an interesting individual, also made a zombie. Why have all the lights gone out? Does that just happen randomly at 2 AM? It's kind of weird. It's not, you know, it's not morning yet. It's 2 AM. It's not even close to morning. I feel like they should go out at like 5 AM maybe. Maybe 6 AM, because it gets light at 7 AM in the game. But 2 AM is too early. I don't know if that normally happens. I don't think I've noticed that before, but they have like a special kind of... they still have the zombie walk. I don't think their kids will have any kind of special life state thing, because zombieism is only like from teens up. I know that like teen Sims that are zombies can have like the they can get undead scholarship awards, but I assume this won't work in this situation. I think this mod has actually given her a purple mouth. Like the inside of her mouth is kind of purple. I don't know if that's partly because of the zombie skin tone. I didn't really notice that before. Oh, just thinking about brains. I don't think they can eat brains in this game, but I do know that The Sims 3 has like a snack that's like frozen brain or something like that. I'm pretty sure the only snacks in The Sims 2 are like cookies, chips, and what's the other one? Juice. Juice isn't even a snack, you know. It's just a drink. But for some reason they've put that in the snack section. Ooh, I think it's happening. Oh no! I think that wall's going to be in the way. Don't get in the way, wall. Ah, there we go. We're going to call the babies a zombie. Where did that 5 come from? I'm going to call them Zombaby. If I ever decide to, like, incorporate them properly into this neighbourhood, I'll probably change that baby's name. So as you can see, as like expected, the baby hasn't inherited any zombie features. They're just like a completely normal human baby, because that life state is only available from teens up. But the pregnancy and birth still works if you resurrect a Sim who dies in pregnancy, even as a zombie. They still go through all the steps. I hope you enjoyed this random zombie experiment or found it informative in some way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.